It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here are warriors, and all have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah. We'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City. What a night. It is going to be historic indeed for BKFC's 56.
Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight.
Early on the turn. Right hand from my boy, double jab.
Who's the king of violence? I am!
Combat fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
80 seconds.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top now.
Ferrall has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. It's Ferrall on the bench, coast to coast in the biggest way possible, hanging out. The bad seed, the broken, the bad apple, the bad attitude. We are live in New York City, the Big Apple. Ooh. People dressed in plastic bags, directing traffic, some kind of fashion shake-it-up, shadoobie, along with the original OG, the golf guru himself, the Tater King, Carver High this afternoon. Mafia's back in the saddle with Luke, I am your father. The rundown today, Morency, a double shot from Vancouver, per usual. Kyle Bond from the Sporting News talking about the Olympic soccer scene. Our boy Joe Pisapia from Fantasy Sports today. And we'll talk trades in baseball and NFL training camps, getting ready for fantasy. And then later, Carver High will hook up with our boy Smiley Kaufman talking Olympic golf. Carver High, I've been hearing about all these rumors of a joint venture with the PGA Tour and the remainder of the season, all the way through the Tour Championship, the FedEx playoffs. Smiley's going to be doing it for us. Our golf coverage continues to expand. I believe the end result of your golf betting. I think the golf betting is all that matters. And then the next thing you know, you're hitting tickets left and right. You're making people tons of money. And then SportsGrid does a deal with the PGA Tour. Everyone knows when they want golf skinny and golf action, they come to SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. It's all because of you, Carver High, and Smiley.
Yeah, I would say probably more Smiley than me. We'll lean toward the ball towards his court. But yeah, I'll ask him today about what he's got going on. He's going to have the Smiley show at all three of those stops on the FedEx Cup playoffs for the PGA Tour. Those last three spots he'll be at doing the Smiley show from all three. So we'll get all the details from him later on here on C2C. We have a lot to do today, Scotty. It's a very busy day. For a Tuesday in late July, including, we'll get to all the Olympic stuff. It is the MLB trade deadline coming up in a couple of hours. You still have a few hours to go here. There hasn't been anything I would call significant or major yet today, unless you want to count the Yankees getting Mark Leiter Jr., or the Marlins sending Trevor Rogers to the Orioles, or Josh Bell to the Diamondbacks. I'll tell you what that means, Scotty. That means our boy Christian Walker is going to be out a while. That's what Josh Bell to the Diamondbacks means. That means he got hurt bad last night with that oblique.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the deal for Bell, and he can definitely swing the stick. So I don't personally think he's as effective as Walker anymore. I think Bell was decent in Miami and better in D.C. and started with the Pirates, if you remember. So
Yes.
obviously they had to do it. I think it's Walker's oblique.
Yeah, we're gonna hopefully get some news on that later on here throughout the day. All right, I have a lot of Olympic live action going for you as well, including men's basketball. They just tipped off Germany and Brazil getting going here for the final game of the day. 4-2 in the opening moments. Of course, Germany was laying a fat 12.5 in this game. I will say, all these teams that were laying big points today, Scotty, the dogs have been barking over at the Olympics. Spain beat Greece. Canada had a fight with the Aussies. France needed overtime to beat Japan. So the dogs have been barking at the men's basketball at the Olympics so far on a Tuesday.
Yeah, I saw those two games earlier today in basketball, and this other game, I'm trying to find it right now. I haven't been able to locate it yet. Is it on? Is it somewhere that I can view this game?
I'm sure it's somewhere. They got a lot of channels. Could be USA, could be CNBC, could be... there's probably a few places you might get that Germany-Brazil game. Or the lack of NBA talent may keep it from the viewing. I'm not sure of those. That could keep Germany and Brazil off the board.
You know what's on tonight? Later tonight is, believe it or not, is the surfing. All the the semis and the finals of the men's and women's surfing from Tahiti at Teapu, and I think that it's going to be unbelievable. I don't know if you saw that. Medina shot. Did you see the picture of the guy flying out of the water? I told you that they fly out of the water, like they pop out of the water at the end of the barrel, and they go up like 25 feet in the air, and they got him like flashing a number 1 in midair with his board hanging from his ankle. I told you the surfing's badass, and I got to tell you, last night I watched two things that I was enamored with. The men's gymnastics bronze, they went crazy winning a bronze medal. That was great. And then I liked this street skateboarding. I thought it was badass with all the tricks, and two Americans did great in it. I think they got the silver and bronze. I like watching the skateboarding. It's fantastic. It reminds me of all the Tony Hawk Stand Up for Skate parks that he's built all over the country, including here in New York City and in Queens. They're everywhere, all over North America, these skate parks. I remember living in Huntington Beach. There were skate parks everywhere in California because kids skateboard there like crazy and learn all these tricks. That's why they're so cutting edge out in SoCal with skateboarding. But watching it in the Olympics, I think, is just really fresh. And not only is it cool, but their drip is cool. Everything about, I think, skateboarders and surfers, I think they're cooler people than all of us.
I think they're cooler people than all of us as well. In fact, I watched a little bit of the surfing last night, and it looked awesome, as you were saying. It did look really cool watching it there. Next I have for you, the 3-on-3 starts today for the Olympics as well. Now, the women, Scotty, unfortunately, they dropped their opener to Germany, 17-13, earlier this afternoon. So Haley Van Lith and the crew, not a good scene for them. They start 0-1. The men will tip, get this, I guess not say tip, since it's a 3-on-3 half-court game, in about just over an hour, 4:30 East, the late night, 10:30 local in Paris game between the United States and Serbia and our boy Jimmer Fredette. And yes, Scotty, I am in the mix with this game. And here is what I did. And they're 1.5-point favorites, the United States. I'm on Jimmer to score 10 points at plus $170 in this game. Jimmer to dominate. Let's go, Scotty.
Do you know what do they play till? Do you know how they do it?
They play either 21 or 10 minutes. Or 12 minutes, 10 or 12 minutes. I forget.
That's like our games. We play 10 minutes or to 10, and it's crazy.
So,
that's the way you keep the games going. It's cool.
I'm hoping that Jimmer's going to be the guy getting the buckets, and he's going to be the guy filling it up for USA. I got him for 10 points and plus $1.70.
I like
we
that.
We have baseball as well. Day ball in Detroit, where Jose Ramirez just rang the bell for the Guardians with a 2-run shot to make it 4-0. So let's go. We have a lot going on. We love when there's live action in the afternoon. And one more Olympic note for you. The women, you mentioned the men won that bronze in the all-around, which is the first time in a long time the men did that.
Right.
The women win the gold just now in the all-around with Simone Biles with a big-time performance. I see everybody tweeting about it on social media. They win gold as well, Scotty. So a big day in gymnastics for the United States.
Yeah, they schooled everyone. Like, it was over before she even did her routine. They had blown everyone out of the water. I think Italy got the silver.
And it was still great. She didn't even need to be that great. And she was still unbelievable shutting the door. So lots of stuff today and the trade deadline as we get closer to 6 o'clock.
I want to see Carver High on the pommel horse.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Media have already said that they are going to be horrible. The books have them, as we'll see in a moment, at a win total of 5.5. Sean Payton, though, Scotty, he does not listen to preseason prognosticators.
That's your future, and it's on you. Like, they selected him. They wanted him. That's what they got. And now he has to build that from scratch.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The Yankees are desperate. I mean, they could fire hitting coaches and everything else, but it's not working. So I don't know if Cashman really would do that. They seem to be so, tight-knit, but something's got to happen.
A big award or a big prize in the trade deadline sweepstakes would be Vladimir Guerrero Jr., right? Vladdy, put him in the middle of the lineup.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Oh, what's up? You watching the game? Or maybe the one later? Put a little BetMGM action on it, and now any game becomes the game. When you got overs and unders, you're in it every time they throw the ball, kick the ball, dribble the ball. Maybe it's not even a ball.
Who needs a ball?
Now that bet's got you watching every inning, half, round, period, set, hole, a lap. Right from the edge of your seat. Hit him with the promo.
Catch Sports Rage weeknights at 10 everywhere on all of our TV outlets, TV stations, streaming networks, radio networks, Sports Byline USA, Mightier 1090 in San Diego, Sirius XM, Channel 159. Morency joins us for a double shot every day on C2C from Vancouver. The guy that was winning that 800 free is no longer winning. It doesn't take long for these guys
My
to
guy's
get
coming
tired.
on, Scott. This is
Dude, I'm getting tired. You and I, they've been swimming since, you know what, like I sat down in this chair. I'm getting tired watching them, bro. They're moving in on like 4 minutes right now. This is a brutal event. 800-meter men's
The guy in the yellow
freestyle.
cap that had the big lead, he's not even in the television frame now.
You got to
He's
pace
losing.
yourself. You got to pace yourself. I'm on this Whiffen dude. I'm on the Irish guy. We've been sort of hit or
Mark
miss.
Whiffen.
Yeah. Daniel Whiffen. Yeah, this is Danny Whiffen. Come on, Danny. I just lost the Regan Smith bet a couple of minutes ago, the 100-meter women's. 100-meter swim, man. That's like a freaking fast. Like, it's like just boom. Like, and it's over. But I've had a lot of fun with this swimming. We're off and running today. We've had some winners. We've done well with the women's rugby. Shout out to the U.S. team, Scott. An incredible accomplishment. First ever medal for the U.S. women's rugby 7 team. They pulled a massive upset earlier today. They ended up beating Australia.
Right, I saw that.
Yeah, and unbelievable. So they end up getting the bronze medal. And a great accomplishment for Canada, Scott. They won a silver medal also. Never won a medal before. So North America women kicked ass. And Canada nearly beat New Zealand in the championship game. They were getting 17 points. They covered the spread. They lost 19-12.
Let me ask you that. So I watched the U.S. lose to New Zealand. And then what? They played Australia
Yeah, they
later.
played for for the bronze medal after. That was a semifinal game. So the 3rd and 4th places team play for the bronze after.
So
the
they
U.S.
played 2
won.
games in one day?
Yeah. Right after another, pretty much, yeah.
And that's violent. It's like football without helmets and pads.
But they're 14-minute games. You know, they're 7-minute halves. It's too bad it's over, Scott, because I'll tell you what, these 14-minute games, they really lead to the underdog. You know what I mean? Like, it's one score. Imagine playing like an NFL football game. It's very similar, right? It's 5 points instead of 6 for a touchdown, 2 points for the extra try after. Football came from rugby, right? American football came with devised from rugby. So it's very similar. So imagine you're playing 1 quarter of football and we're giving you 17 points, Scott. It's like, all right, you know what I mean? If my team, the dog, can score one, you know what I mean? 1 mark, then boom, we're going to cover the spread. Canada scored early. It went from 17.5 to 5.5. They lost by 7. They were getting 17. It's hard. 7-minute halves, bro. It just ticks away quickly. Like, and moving forward, guys, you know, we were talking about like getting, you know, fever for water polo and stuff. I know you've been watching the surfing. But this rugby 7 stuff, I know it's popular, Scott, already. It travels around to stadiums, bro, and it's almost like a cosplay thing. People dress up as like Batman and Spider-Man and get like wasted. And there's like 10 games, like all after another, because only 14 minutes. Boom, 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 boom. It's very popular in Vancouver. It sells out BC Place like twice a year, like the World Clubs. I'm going to start betting this more now, Scott. Now that I got, you know, I sort of really get it now. And I'm like, oh, this is really cool. And from a betting perspective, I've caught on. I'm like, man, if the dog can tie their shoes and put their cleats on, they got a puncher's chance in a 14-minute game.
I've been at Vegas for fights, right? And I go like at the MGM and I go down to the sports book in the morning, and on weekends where there's literally nothing going on but maybe a fight, you know, a pay-per-view card, and there's nothing going on, and I walk in the sports book and there's rugby on in the morning, and I'm like, I go, I don't know how to bet rugby. What am I going to do with myself?
Rugby sevens is funner, though. Rugby's cool, but the sevens, only 7 people. It's just, it's boom, boom. You know, the 7 minutes, bam, bam, the halves. It's really, really fast-paced.
So what did I watch when I saw New Zealand beat the U.S.? Was that sevens or was that regular?
That was sevens. It's all sevens. They don't have regular rugby in the Olympics. They're smart.
Right,
they
well,
go for the hip.
I watched
it's like
this
hipper.
morning.
It's like hipper stuff. So as far as the surfing, Scott, you saw that picture.
Yeah.
There's video of it for people like, if you don't believe this is real, this is how it happened. And I know you know more about surfing than most people do, and you've actually been here before.
Right.
Surfing, Scott, normally, you know, is maneuvers, little tricks. You know what I mean? You got to throw some stuff in here. The waves, Scott, here are so nasty, they changed the scoring system. It's basically, listen, if you can survive this, you know, like, get through. And the surfers were saying what they're basically judging, bro, how long you can stay under the water for, Scott. Right. That's the whole thing. Like, their goal is to, like you said, to pop in and then boom, to pop out after. And that guy popped out, man, like a geyser yesterday, bro.
Yeah, listen, they call it something. It's got a nickname of Skulls because so many
he's
people,
barreling. They got a barreling term. There's a bunch of these terms, but
well, they
you know
call
what I'm
it.
talking about.
The nickname is something Skulls, and it's because so many people have died there and gone underwater and smacked their head and died. It's taken many lives. That is one of the greatest barrels.
Yeah, there's a coral reef, guys, and there's like a 750-foot drop to the bottom. Like, it's really crazy there. You're right.
It's dangerous. It's the most dangerous wave. Nazare in France is more dangerous. It's the number 2 most dangerous wave in the world, and it's the number 1 barrel roll in the world. And they knew what they were getting into when they went there because the wave is just absolutely kick-ass every day. And it is survival of the fittest. When you go in that thing, and you see how
it's just massive.
They put their hand back.
What the hell?
Have you ever seen them? They put their hand back on the edge of the barrel just to hold on to your life. I love it. So when we come back, we got another shot with Morency. We'll see what he's
I just won gold, baby. Whiff and won.
In the Olympics.
The Irishman came back and won. Like you said, all the dudes at the front faded. The Irishman won. He was pacing himself, baby. He knew.
Did you cash that ticket?
Yes, sir.
It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here, warriors, and all have my respect. And I'm into this game, I'll be into this,
And we are live here in the Maverick Center, here in Salt Lake City. What a night. It is going to be historic indeed for BKFC 56.
Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight.
Who's the king of violence? I am! Combat fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top.
All right, we're hanging out with Sports Rage. Gabe Morency on C2C on a Tuesday afternoon here in New York and in Vancouver. So what are you betting on? I know you got action on the women lost, the 3-on-3 USA lost to Germany. And now coming up here, Serbia and the U.S. in men's 3-on-3. Carver High has a bet on Jimmer Fredette over to 10 points. Or 10.5, whatever it is. What do you got that you're betting on the rest of the day in the Olympics?
Well, I told people for the last month, anyone that would listen to me, I told them I thought Canada was going to win the women's 3-on-3, Scott. The U.S. have the reputation of being the basketball kingpins, right? And I get it in the Olympics with the men and women's team. The women's team now won 56 straight games. But 3-on-3 is a different animal. And 3-on-3 basketball is very big in Europe. And the European teams are very, they dominate this stuff. But as far as the women are concerned, Cameron Brink, unfortunately, got hurt in the WNBA. Cameron Brink's a really good 3-on-3 player. She likes playing it. And she's so tall and lanky. She's able to block shots, get you rebounds. She's just made for 3-on-3 basketball. But she's not there. And they had other injuries as well that they had WNBA players that were going to play. Haley Van Lith is playing. So they basically have NCAA players playing against women. And the Canadian women in 3-on-3 have won a couple of big world championships and tournaments in the last 2 years. You know what they are, Scott? They're ringers. There's two sisters. They don't want to be in the WNBA. They don't. They play 3-on-3 ball and they bring in someone else to join them all the time. Right. And they live for it. We don't, this is our lives. I think they sell insurance and real estate, bro, in the offseason. You know what I mean? But they're 3-on-3. Yeah, they're 3-on-3 experts. They're like those two tennis brothers. They used to play doubles only, right? No, we know each other. We're sisters, and we bring in sort of another player, and there's alternate player too. But they're really good. So I'm not surprised the U.S. struggled. Don't bet on them, guys. They're the U.S. They're going to beat everybody. They won't. All right, this is 3-on-3. It's different, and we saw they lost to Germany today. The U.S. men with Jimmer Fredette's a little bit different. The U.S. is so deep, they have a big competition even to get to the game. So Jimmer Fredette has sort of become an expert. He's in the TBT tournament. He's in this. Jimmer's sort of a basketball mercenary now, popping up. But he said, hey, I got an opportunity to play in the Olympics, and who would turn this down? Yeah, he's really excited. He's like, this is like a dream. I never imagined. I like his honesty, Scott. He goes, I was never going to make the U.S. men's team, man. Right? He said, I was never good enough to be on the U.S. men's basketball team. And he goes, I can't. It is what it is. And now I get to go to the Olympics and play basketball. This is awesome. And I actually think the U.S. can win. They're playing Serbia. The game is basically a pick 'em. USA are -1.5. Total's 37.5. I want USA money line here, Scott. I am going to, I have a leap of faith here in the U.S., but these are the two best teams in 3-on-3 in men's basketball. So we have a real showdown coming up here at 4:30 Eastern.
So who are you betting on in that?
USA, money line. USA and the over 37.5.
USA to win and over 37.5. What else do you have going on a Tuesday in the Olympics or otherwise? Baseball, the trade deadline's gone down. There's a lot of good games tonight.
Yeah, I got to sort of reset with baseball right now. I've been so set into the Olympics. Doesn't mean I haven't been betting on baseball. With the Olympics, I've got, I've got action on the swimming, but we're getting to the time of the day right now, quite frankly. It's slowing down in Paris. We got some men's volleyball going on. Germany are playing in basketball. I've got action on that.
I watched that Germany-USA. That was early this morning. They're replaying that. That's from earlier.
No. There's live right now. This is live Canada versus France volleyball.
Oh, Canada, France.
It's the main event.
I watched that USA-Germany match in men's volleyball, the indoor volleyball, and I watched beach volleyball today as well.
Yeah, that's great. You know what? It's like 105 degrees there today in Paris. Yeah. Get this too, Scott? How about this, bro? There's no air conditioning in the Olympic Village.
I know.
So, and you're in a little room, and it's 105 degrees. The village is supposedly half empty. Everyone's leaving. All the athletes are checking into, hotels. And it's not just, divas and stuff like that. Like, the South Korean row team got pissed off and left. Coco Gauff and all the tennis players left. There was 10 girls in a dorm and 2 bathrooms for 10 girls. Coco said, listen, I want to live the Olympic experience, but this is ridiculous. I'm going to the hotel.
She's going to the Ritz-Carlton.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, have a good show tonight, Gabe.
Recently, I feel like I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not making bad swings. I don't feel like I'm making terrible decisions, and just had got a little bit of a streak of bad luck on par fives. Didn't birdie any of them at the Open, didn't birdie any of them today. It's just, and I didn't feel like I did anything terribly wrong, right? But that's just golf. It happens. What's done is done, and this week is the most important week of the year right now.
If he lands it pin high, he's going to be off over the pin position and leave himself a tough putt there. That should bite now. He didn't like it by the looks of it, but he'll love it when he sees it.
Just get this before that bunker. Put himself in a good position.
Just a tiny little baby fade, ideally placed.
To tie the lead at 16. Oh, he's playing well, isn't he, John Rahm?
And OMG, what a championship Sunday we just witnessed.
Win, right? Selfishly, you always want to get that done, but you don't want to see a teammate and a good friend missing a putt for that happening for me.
The Live Golf League delivers every single event, doesn't it? I mean, what an incredible finish there. You know what, Tyrrell Hatton, I feel for him. He's been playing beautiful golf. In fact, since Miami, he's been the best player in our league based on the strokes gained metric.
I'm really happy that I had my first Live Golf win. Now that Kelly and the kids are watching, just knowing that I'm bringing a trophy home for them, it feels good to say that it's coming home.
Writes about soccer for the Sporting News, and he's covering the Olympics. Morency's a fan. It's good to have you on Coast to Coast, Kyle. I watched the U.S. under-23 team with that 3-0 win over Guinea. New Guinea, I'm assessing. I like their uniforms, to be honest with you. I thought they were pretty fresh. They didn't look good in the game, but their unis, they had a nice drip going.
Yeah, the African teams always come to play when it comes to the kits. That's always big for them. But yeah, the U.S. men looked fantastic, and really since losing big to France in the opening game, in a game when they looked okay through the first 60 minutes and kind of fell apart, they have been on fire. And this is only the second time ever that the U.S. men have qualified for the knockout stage of the Olympics, because they have just not had a great history at the Olympics. The men haven't. And this is a real big moment for them. They've never medaled since the first ever Olympic men's tournament when there were only 3 teams. And so this is a big opportunity.
So it's an under-23 outfit, and they where do most of them come from? Like, I don't know a lot about these young kids and where they get them and where they've been playing. And, I'm used to watching, we just watched the Euros and the Copa and the Premier League and the Champions League. And these are the greatest players in the world. But these are kids.
Yeah, so they're coming from the same places, just maybe lesser known clubs. So a lot of these players still play either in MLS or in Europe. They just aren't as well-known players because they're younger. And so that's what makes it a little tougher for the United States in a setting like this. But because of the Copa America, because of the Euros, which are much more prestigious competitions where the senior national players play on the men's side, the Olympics sort of has to know its place. And so that's why it's a youth tournament, is because these senior players have already just played in a major international tournament in their very small off season. Playing in the Olympics as well is just not realistic. So that's why they bring in a lot of these kids. But they come from MLS and they come from European clubs still.
So the team that lost in the Copa and didn't make it to the knockout stage, I know they're allegedly better. That would be our Olympic team in terms of in terms of 28, right? These are the guys that are going to be playing in Los Angeles. But my point is, the team that lost in the Copa, these guys, they look like they play better than that outfit.
Yeah, potentially. You could argue that. The team that's playing right now in the Olympics is playing against other U23 competitions. So you have to remember that as well. Where in a youth tournament, because the players aren't quite developed yet, talent doesn't really carry you as far. So there's lots of upsets. You know, you saw Spain today lost to Egypt. Spain's one of the favorites to win the tournament. So there's a lot of upsets in Olympic men's soccer just because the gap in talent from the best teams to the smallest teams is a lot smaller.
So we saw Egypt win that game 2-1. We saw Uzbekistan tied somebody. What is that team that they played? Do you know that game today?
Dominican Republic.
That was the Dominican Republic they played. And then Argentina beat Ukraine 2-0. Morocco 3-0 over Iraq. And France beat New Zealand 3-0. And so we had lost to that French team. Are they like the favorites in this thing?
Yeah, you have to consider them the favorites right now. They just smoked the rest of the group all the way through. They're the hosts. Before the tournament, there were three big favorites from a betting perspective. You basically had a top tier of France, Spain, and Argentina. There's a huge gap in the futures before the tournament, and then you have the rest of the field. The U.S., thanks to the insane controversy that happened way early in the tournament between Morocco and Argentina, are actually drawing Morocco in the first knockout game instead of Argentina because those two teams finished exactly level in their standings. So you take the head-to-head, and Morocco won the head-to-head very controversially. So Morocco finished first in their group. The U.S. finished second. Those two teams will play in the quarterfinals. And so Morocco, while not Argentina, obviously, still a very formidable opponent because, as I mentioned, there was that gap between the top three teams and the rest of the field. Well, Morocco was at the top of that rest of the field. So you've got a very difficult opponent here for the U.S. in the quarterfinals coming up. If they were able to win that game in advance, it would only be the second time ever the U.S. has made the semifinals of an Olympic tournament in the men's side, and they've never medaled. So this would be a big opportunity for them.
So Morocco got lucky and got that controversial win. Where did it leave Argentina? They won today. Are they still in the knockout with their points?
Yep, they made it through as the second place finisher in their group. So Argentina will play in the quarterfinals, and they will take on France. That's a big game. You got two of the top three favorites that will match up in the quarterfinals. One of them will be going home a lot earlier than expected.
So tomorrow, the women play in the Olympics, and we were talking before you came on about Canada, that they're proving all the, penalties that they got for the drones. All the Olympic officials are proving them wrong. They're playing great. And I don't know when the U.S. women play again. You probably do. They look fantastic. That front line with Swanson Smith and Rodman. I couldn't believe how amazing they looked against Germany. Are both of those two teams headed on a collision course?
They could be. That would certainly be appointment viewing. The women's team is a little harder to figure out, or the women's side of the competition is a little tougher to figure out where teams will end up in the knockout bracket because you have third place qualifiers that are sort of muddling up things. But the U.S. women are through already. We don't know where, but they are already through. They play tomorrow, I believe, at 1:00. It might be 3, so I'll have to double check that just to make sure I've got the right information. But I know that the U.S. women will play tomorrow afternoon. It is at 1:00. So they'll play Australia at 1. They're already through. The question is just where are they going to finish in the group? But Canada, I mean, what a story. 6-point deduction, which is 2/3 of your maximum possible points you can get in the group stage, already wiped out. So they have to win 3 of 3 to even have a chance at qualifying. And the way things have shaken out, they've already won their first 2 games. If they beat Colombia tomorrow, they are through. it would be an incredible story for them to just sort of put out the noise. Vanessa Gillet, who scored the incredible late winner against France in their second game, basically said after the game, she's like, we haven't slept in 3 days. We've barely eaten. We've all been crying. It's just, we're all running on pure emotion at this point, which is really an unbelievable story.
Well, Colombia, in terms of the men, they were great in the Copa. Are the Colombian women as good as the men's side? And what are they respectfully in store for against this team tomorrow? How good are they? And I got 45 seconds respectfully.
Yeah. Canada should be favored in that game, but Colombia are decent. They've had a good history as far as South American women's teams are concerned. South American women football is pretty much dominated by Brazil, but you've got Argentina and Colombia as sort of like a close second tier. So it's a decent matchup for them. It's not a given by any means, but Canada should be favored in that game.
I got to tell you, I'm not as versed in this stuff, obviously, but I love it. I love watching it. I watched every single game of the Euros and the Copa. I did the Copa final on SportsGrid that Sunday night from Hard Rock with all that chaos outside that stadium. We did the broadcast. I'm loving the Olympic soccer. Thanks for teaching me so much today. I appreciate you. Great
Anytime.
job. Thanks for coming on Coast to Coast, brother.
Recently, I feel like I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not making bad swings. I don't feel like I'm making terrible decisions, and just had got a little bit of a streak of bad luck on par fives. Didn't birdie any of them at the Open, didn't birdie any of them today. It's just, and I didn't feel like I did anything terribly wrong, right? But that's just golf. It happens. What's done is done, and this week is the most important week of the year right now.
If he lands it pin high, he's going to be off over the pin position and leave himself a tough putt there. That should bite now. He didn't like it by the looks of it, but he'll love it when he sees it.
Just get this before that bunker. Put himself in a good position.
Just a tiny little baby fade, ideally placed. To tie the lead at 16. Playing well, isn't he, John Rahm?
And OMG, what a championship Sunday we just witnessed.
Win, right? So obviously you always want to get that done, but you don't want to see a teammate and a good friend, missing a putt for that happening for me.
The Live Golf League delivers every single event, doesn't it? I mean, what an incredible finish there. You know what, Tyrrell Hatton, I feel for him. He's been playing beautiful golf. In fact, since Miami, he's been the best player in our league based on the strokes gained metric.
I'm really happy that I had my first Live Golf win. Now that Kelly and the kids are watching, just knowing that I'm bringing the trophy home for them, it feels good to say that it's coming home.
So, Carver High, I keep watching all this swimming, and I just saw that American chick. She was in it. She was going for it, Husk, to win that 100-meter semi, and she lost. That O'Callahan, that Aussie chick, caught her at the end. She didn't even finish 1, 2, or 3. I think she was fourth. But I got to tell you about the BetMGM First Bet 1500 because it's so exciting, like the women's swimming. You get it in 4 easy steps. 1, download the BetMGM app on iOS or Android or go to BetMGM.com. 2, sign up, deposit at least $10 in your new account, and you're rolling. 3, place your first wager and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if the bet loses. And you heard me, 4, if the bet does lose, your bonus bets will be available once your initial wager is settled. So I could have bet $1,500 on Husk there in the women's 100-meter semi. I would have lost. But now that we know that I lost and the wager is settled, they will, BetMGM, put $1,500 in bonus bets right into my account after that wager is settled. So you're styling. It's like a free bet up to $1,500. Nobody does it better than BetMGM.
Nobody does it better, that's for sure. You're watching that. I'm watching the 3-on-3 basketball opening day of that at the Olympics. I'm waiting, of course, for, as we've been talking about, Jimmer and the United States men to play, which is coming up in a little under an hour. They have the women's game on right now. And this is a cool little court, Scotty. Like, it's, you know how they got that beach volleyball at that makeshift structure underneath the Eiffel Tower? That's really cool. Same thing here. They've built like this little arena, and it's a half court for the 3-on-3. Really neat little spot. And I'm watching the Chinese and the French women play. China's got this one girl. She's got to be 7 feet, 7'1", 7'2". She's really tall, and France having a big problem trying to get involved down low with her. So 11-9, 11 up now. They just tied it. So I got a good one here as I wait for that. I have some baseball news for you. Of course, it's trade deadline day, and there's a lot of things that are coming through. But this is not trade deadline related, Scotty. Garrett Cole, who was supposed to start for the Yankees tonight in Philadelphia, will not be starting for the Yankees tonight in Philadelphia. No, Scotty, he has not been traded. The Yankees are calling this, you're going to love this one, general body fatigue is why Cole has been scratched tonight in Philly against the Phillies.
He must be tired of giving up all those home runs.
Your boss, somebody named Will Warren, is going to start for the Yankees tonight.
God.
Your boy
Against
double W, Will Warren. Now, look, I had, we're going to get to the taters later. Like, I got Schwarbaum tonight. Like, he lights up Cole. Like, I still don't mind Schwarbaum if I got Will Warren throwing for the Phillies, for the Yankees tonight. So, no Garrett Cole on the mound for the Yankees, Scotty. Stunning news.
Yeah, that is huge news, and it certainly changes everything for that bet tonight at the bank. But I'll tell you what, that lineup of the Yankees last night, and I know we're going to talk about it more later, but that lineup with Jazz leading off and what they did, Judge and Chisholm last night with 2 home runs apiece, the fact that they put 14 on the Phillies and they lit up Wheeler, it's a really good sign. We talked about it yesterday. If Verdugo gets going, you get Stanton back. Now you got a Jazz bat and lead off, and you got Soto and Judge 3-4. It's just ridiculous, that lineup. And if they get clicking with those bats, I don't really care who's pitching.
Yeah, that's for sure. They scored a ton of runs last night. We'll see what the lineup's going to look like tonight. Of course, they're going to most of these teams, it's tough with lineups tonight because with the trade deadline being at 6 o'clock East, which I can't remember it ever being that late before in the day. It's usually around 3 or 4 o'clock East.
They did it for a lot of teams coast to coast. They wanted to keep it for C to C,
which is fine. We don't mind that.
The best show on television. They needed to keep it on until 6 for our coverage, continuing coverage.
We will see what else comes through. Here's what's come through today so far. The Yankees did get Mark Leiter Jr. to help the bullpen. They give up 2 prospects, send them back to the Cubbies.
I thought they were getting Flaherty.
I thought they were getting Flaherty, too. That has not happened yet. Flaherty has not gone anywhere yet from Detroit. I know they scratched him yesterday, clearly in anticipation that they were going to deal him. But with a couple hours to go, that has still not happened. We mentioned that the Marlins traded Josh Bell to the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks put out the mild oblique strain for Christian Walker. He's going to go on the IL. So maybe not as serious as they thought. They get Bell for some insurance anyway. Marlins trade reliever Trevor Rogers to the Orioles. 2 prospects going back, including Norby, who's one of the Orioles' better prospects. And I know people were very upset about that. down in Baltimore to give him up for a reliever, Trevor Rogers. The Giants trade Alex Cobb to Cleveland. Now, Cobb has not pitched yet this year, Scotty. He is coming back from hip surgery. He has made a couple of rehab starts. He allegedly looks good, and Cleveland now has him for the stretch run, it looks like, if they so choose to get him into that rotation. Last night, Soler back to the Braves. Of course, he won the 21 MVP, World Series MVP with Atlanta. I had a feeling, Scotty, Atlanta would do something like this. They've had tons of injuries, and they go back to a place that they know very well with Soler, who was good for them in the past.
He's got some pop on his bat. We've bet on him on Taters before, and he's done well there, obviously, getting that series MVP.
Indeed. Kikuchi going to Houston late last night as Toronto continues to really sell everything that isn't nailed down aside from Guerrero and a couple of other guys. Kikuchi goes to Houston, 3 players, including that guy Bloss, who was supposed to start last night. That upset me because I wanted all those power pirate lefties to go yard off of Bloss. And I was very annoyed, Scotty, when he got yanked 10 minutes before the game and he wasn't starting. Bothered.
Yeah,
but the Buccos still won.
Yeah, I think Kikuchi's overrated, and I know Guerrero hit that big bomb to dead center last night, so he's still ragged. He's got like 21.
Recently, I feel like I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not making bad swings. I don't feel like I'm making terrible decisions, and just had got a little bit of a streak of bad luck on par 5s. Didn't birdie any of them at the Open, didn't birdie any of them today. It's just, and I didn't feel like I did anything terribly wrong, right? But that's just golf. It happens. What's done is done, and this week is the most important week of the year right now.
If he lands it pin high, he's going to be off over the pin position and leave himself a tough putt there. That should bite now. He didn't like it by the looks of it, but he'll love it when he sees it.
Just get this before that bunker. Put himself in a good position.
Just a tiny little baby fade, ideally placed.
To tie the lead at 16. Playing well, isn't he, John Rahm?
And OMG, what a championship Sunday we just witnessed.
Win, right? Selfishly, you always want to get that done, but you don't want to see a teammate and a good friend, missing a putt for that happening for me.
The Live Golf League delivers every single event, doesn't it? I mean, what an incredible finish there. You know what, Tyrrell Hatton, I feel for him. He's been playing beautiful golf. In fact, since Miami, he's been the best player in our league based on the strokes gained metric.
I'm really happy that I had my first Live Golf win. Now that Kelly and the kids are watching, just knowing that I'm bringing the trophy home for them, it feels good to say that it's coming home.
Yeah, Carver High, just continuing with trades that are happening. They're happening up to the minute. I thought that was a really good move by the Royals.
Royals get Paul DeJong from the Chicago White Sox. He's got some pop in the bat, Scotty. He's hit a bunch of homers this year. And the good news for him is all he has to do is walk down the hall. Because the White Sox and the Royals, of course, playing each other tonight. Already in the White Sox clubhouse. He can stroll on over and put the Royal jersey on tonight and play on the other side. That is a nice move because I like those bats on Kansas City already with Salvi and Witt and Vinny P and a bunch of guys that they got, and that's a little bit more off. And I got to tell you, and I know it's going to bother you here for the next 2 hours, that's another guy. That's a type of bat, not expensive, that would have helped the Pirates in such a big way. Like, that's another, like, kind of middle bat that would have been an upgrade for them in so many spots. It just boggles your mind that they haven't come through with something yet.
To see them getting burned by a team like the Royals, who are smarter than them. The Royals are a tough team, and they're winning. And if I were DeJong, I'd be loving life getting out of that Chicago clubhouse.
Well,
you talk about a bunch of losers. They're the worst team in baseball, hands down. And it's got to be a drag on you to play in Chicago, no less, a great city with, the Cubs and White Sox have always mattered in Chicago in the summertime. It's a big deal. And when you suck as bad as they do, the Chicago media, the TV, radio, newspapers, the Trib, etc., the Sun-Times, they abuse them. They just abuse them. They get whacked every night. I bet against them every night. I bet on them again today.
And look, you're right about that. Nothing like going from being 50 games under 500 to being in one of the wild card spots in the American League. That's being shifted into a pennant race is always fun. So good for Paul DeJong and good for the Royals, because we like when teams like the Royals, Pirates, etc. actually make some moves to try to help themselves out. The Nats sent Lane Thomas to Cleveland. I saw him in the lineup this afternoon. I like Lane Thomas a lot. That's a good bat. Rays trade Ahmed Rosario to the Dodgers. Reds said Frankie Montas to the Brewers, who need starting pitching in a bad way. We are still also waiting to see if the White Sox will find a home for our boy. Garrett, don't call me Davy Crockett because my name is Crochet. Last week we had his camp leaking out all that info that he wanted an extension if he got sent to a contender, that he didn't want to be a reliever, he didn't want this, he didn't want that. Here's White Sox general manager Chris Getz talking with the media yesterday. He didn't seem very thrilled, Scotty, by the Crochet's camp approach.
The communication had been very strong between Garrett and I and his agency. I was a little surprised and taken back by how they went about it. Considering that I had a conversation with his agent, the night before, I didn't, that's not exactly the tactic that I would have taken, even being a former player, quite honestly. Just because the dialogue had been so honest and real and careful and mindful of his career, because I've known him since we got him, so I was a little surprised by it. I was.
It's amazing that nowadays it really is. Players don't have anything to do with these general managers. They have their agents deal with them. They don't even talk to them. Like, don't come near me. Don't even look at me. Don't come to the batting cage near me when I'm hitting. I don't want to talk to you in the clubhouse. Call my agent. Like, it really is becoming like, a difficult situation for these teams to deal with these agents.
It really has. And, of course, that went on for a few more minutes. He did also tell the media during that session that information getting out has absolutely hurt making a trade. He says there are teams that went out, contenders, because they did not want to give him an extension. So all that your boy did was muddle things up. We'll see if he gets dealt in the next couple of hours here. All right, we'll come back. I doubt it, too, with all that. We'll quickly rip through some of the stuff from last night. I got grand slams, walk-off homers, go-ahead homers. I mean, we'll quickly just go through some of the stuff from last night.
I had the perfect end of my birthday, man, watching the Pirates beat the
Michael
Astros.
Taylor.
The way they beat them in the ninth inning and the way they came back and tied it and then beat them was unbelievable. I was going nuts.